This is just a quick video to give you in process terms what happens in the morning. Like basically I fired up this software now since morning, like these stocks, as you can see, like this will be moving, like you'll see some of the stocks, some of the windows will change. So as the stocks show up, if something catches my eye, I'll be looking at it. MRNS was something which was like a breakout from yesterday. It's already up in pre-market. So sometimes if I have a position, then I sell those positions in the pre-market if they're up a lot, because many times when you have like any positions which are up 10%, 20% in pre-market, if you can sell, it makes a lot of sense to sell them into strength basically. So now as you can see that there are two more windows which are showing up, which is like the pre-market grainers. So yeah, UWT, UCO, BCS, and this is dynamic, it keeps changing. Again, like this tells you how many new highs, so 51% new highs as of now, which is like pre-market, how many highs are out of happening kind of a thing, which it is showing. But like this is just like to keep an eye on what is moving pre-market kind of a thing. Now the main focus for the market, for me personally, is the anticipation list. So this is an anticipation list, and from the anticipation list which I posted last night, I added a couple of more after going through more stocks in the morning. So I have around 40 stocks which I am watching, and out of these, some of these, like as I know, you can look at a basically based on what the market is doing, some of the biotechnology stocks are doing well. So I have some of these like out of these 40 stocks, I have two windows on interactive broker where I have entered all these stocks. They are all been entered into the interactive broker interface, and they're ready in terms of orders. Like say I had an order on this particular stock from a couple of days ago, but it's already up in pre-market. So it's already like up around 9% in pre-market. So that's like something the sometimes like you get alerted to this kind of situation. So I have all these like some of these I have order ready on this stock at around exact figure I really, like if I tell you, like, and then a lot of orders get bunched at that particular point, but somewhere in this region I have an order already on this stock. Similarly, I have order ready on this particular stock. So there are a lot of these stocks where I have like spent last half an hour creating orders at looking at their past and looking at like look, and I say I might have an order at around 9.30 or 9.35 on this particular stock. So there are a bunch of orders which are ready currently. Like I have around 8 or 9 orders. Not everything I'm going to put an order on. Something which looks like really really ready to break out, like say something like this, is like it can break out even though it's like a little bit wild distraction. But like say something like this, I was like watching this for a couple of days. It's not very it didn't like won't show up because 98.6 was traded, but like this is something which I had in my watch list for some days. Now this is breaking out already. USAT, now this is a very compact action, so I have like RFFP, I already have an order ready on that. Then couple of others, like say this Coventry trucking company, it's going sideways, very nice, and if it breaks out above this level, it's going to be a big breakout probably. So I have orders ready on some of these stocks. Skywaste, because the airlines are doing well and it's one of the good airlines stock in that. Then I have order ready on NTAP, on Wing. So I have orders, bunch of orders like just ready in case one of them fires, in terms of like even on UBNT I have an order ready. So I spend a lot of time creating those orders in the morning, like around half an hour, so that like if they start breaking out, you can just press one button. And sometimes I have orders like I say on a stock like this, say I might have an order which gets triggered only if this stock goes above a certain price of like say 5.70. If this stock goes above 5.70, my order will get triggered. So like this, I have orders ready kept in the morning. Now this is my first area of focus in terms of like what I have in my pocket in terms of anticipation, but I also have some open positions. So I will be looking at like they are taking profit on some of them if they make a big move, or they are like up big in the first half an hour. So it's like a combination of these two or three things. One is like I'm watching something from the pre-market. If something shows up and if I see a lot of activity in the pre-market, a lot of trading happening, then I will research it and decide if it is worth getting into, or is it something which has a catalyst, which is a significant catalyst, and I want to like put a position, and then I'll look at um, market smith or some data sources kind of a thing, and look at what is the earnings or what is the news on that particular stock, and I will decide whether I want to get into. And if there is not much which is like an immediately actionable, or like something which I see that look, and it's not something which in the pre-market I'm not finding much, then I always have this backup list. And most of the trades come from the anticipation, because the more time you spend on anticipation, more opportunities you can find. Like say something like this I was watching. Now unfortunately I can't do anything because the stock is already up 9% in pre-market, but like I had an order ready, which if it has done during the regular trading hours, the order would have been activated, or like I have orders ready on all these stocks. So this way, in process terms, this is the first focus. But as soon as the market opens, like if something most of the time when you have stocks which you are watching as anticipation, they trigger in the first 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, and the one which triggers the most is the one where you want to get in. That's why you want to do all the keeping the orders ready or putting in orders. And I have done a video a couple of days ago which you can see, which talks about how you can create a buy, stop order, limit order to get into a stock in case it goes above a certain level. Now once if that none of these like fire some trade, then always there is like a 4% breakout which I'm going to be like looking at during intraday. Now the intraday breakout, I have like the scan which I use for intraday right in the morning is slightly different. It is a combination scan which looks for something which is up 2% and or down 2%, but volume is about 100,000, and volume is above yesterday's volume. So that way basically what you're looking at is something which breaks out with great volume, even if it is not up 4%, because the stock is going to break out in first 10 or 5, 15 or 20 minutes with just like 2 or 3%. But if there is volume, then it is going to go up 4% plus. So I use this intraday to look at opportunities. So combination of these, like the 4B. Similarly, I have a combination scan for dollar breakout, which combines both the C minus O or O minus C's. So either a stock which is up 90 cents or down 90 cents and volume is about 100,000 will show up. Now obviously these are from yesterday. As the market opens at around 9:30 or 9:35, 9:40, you'll only find 10 or 20 candidates, unless like the market is gapping up and really takes up right from the first moment. The scan builds over a period of time, like even the 4% scan, the intraday one, which will like show 3 or 4 or 7 or 8 candidates in the first 15 to 20 minutes, and those are the one most of the time which go on to make big move. Like QR was like in the scan in the first few minutes, and then like the stock went on to make, I don't know how much, like you can see that QR somewhere will be here. QR made 13% move. So that's how in process terms, this is just a quick and dirty video to show you process terms. Like this is really to find real time or pre-market what is happening. And as soon as the market opens, these are the two windows which I focus on really, because something which is breaking out with a lot of buying pressure and there is a scramble to buy will show up in these two windows. And if there is an earnings breakout, it will show up here. And if something doesn't happen here, then there is always anticipation where our orders ready, and then there is 4%, and there is dollar breakout. So combination of these always help you find stocks, ideas, enough stock ideas, more than enough to be fully invested if you really want to be like going even on margin kind of a thing. So there are like basically for swing trading you can find the ideas, and at the same time you can also like find longer term trades, because some trades are short term trades, or they are like just a swing trade kind of a trade, because they are like basically setting up as a swing trade. But while something which is like just breaking out, like from say something like this is just a swing trade because it's already been up, while something like the stock which broke out yesterday, like say Sage. Okay, now obviously I'm not going to buy something like this here, but like, and if it was not a biotechnology, now this might be a longer term trade because the stock is likely to make a bigger move from here because there's a game changing catalyst kind of a thing. Volume was very high, over 500 million of cash flow was there in this. Somebody will ask, what is this CV? CV is basically how much, like a stock which trades more than 500 million. Like it had this 500 million plus cash flow here also, then a pullback, and now again it had 500 million plus kind of cash flow coming in. So you might decide, look, I want to put a position here and hold it for a couple of months or 6 months or 1 year because it has a catalyst, as against something which is like basically just a swing trade where you know very clearly that you're going to play it for just a few this thing like this is a stock which I was looking at for some time. I had looked at it here. It was an anticipation scan, obviously. Like everything which I look at, most of the things are anticipation, sometime in anticipation. So I had like an orders put in here, and I got in, and then like, and I had looked at this stock, looked at its earnings, had looked at its sector and all. So my thinking was, okay, this stock is more like a swing trade kind of a thing at the moment. And then I got out. Like it for somebody else, it might be a position trade. So you have to, but I would say that like for position trade, if you're going to be holding a longer term position, and if you're going to be putting in a lot more of your capital, have some basis for selecting a stock. You can't just select stock based on some random criteria and expect it to be a position trade. You'll have to have some sort of a stock selection methodology in terms of either it has a earnings story, growth story, or some sort of like catalyst which will propel it to go up for a couple of quarters. Like a stock like Sterling is basically it's a cyclical kind of a stock which like basically tends to make moves. But if you see here, it's been going sideways for like almost a decade or something, and now it has just recovered. It's more like a turnaround kind of a story based on the earnings. If you see here, Sterling, like so you have to research. I'm saying like basically like say here, if you see why was it not doing anything for last 10 years or 7 or 8 years. See, earnings were negative, earnings were like negative, earnings were negative. Now it's like, and it just turned around from 40 cents, it's making 40%. Its peak earning was like, and that's when the stock was priced at 21, was around $1.30. Now it's like 0.44. So it's not really, it's turning around. It's just like an made, but may not be the significant game changer kind of a earnings. A lot of time you'll find that like there are these turnaround kind of situations where like extreme, which is like say this is a turnaround kind of a situation. See, earnings are not doing much, and then like suddenly there is a big jump in earnings. Like they're 0 at 23, 17 cents, 31 cents, 6. These are yearly earnings, and then now there is a jump in this, and the stock has some of it is already priced in because the stock is already up. So you have to use like some sort of a criteria to select a stock which is likely to make a big move. Just selecting based on just how it looks and how linear it is may not be the best of the idea according to me. So that's just like a quick introduction to show you like look kind of what I'll be looking at or what process terms, like where the ideas come from, where the trades come from. So if I see something and if it was good like in pre-market, I would be already buying in pre-market. I buy a lot nowadays. I buy a lot of stuff in pre-market because a lot of things break out in the pre-market and they continue to go up in pre-market. And sometimes like you get a lot of volume in pre-market or like selling in pre-market makes a lot of sense sometimes because stocks like just go up a big in pre-market, and then when the market opens they just like keep going down from that bounce which they had in the pre-market. So And that's really what you're looking at. These are some of the pre-market movers. Alexon, I would look at like, and I continuously look at what are the catalysts on them if there is a news. So there is like, this is ALXN. So I'll go to Finwiz. I'll look at what is the catalyst. So obviously stock was going down, so there must be some news. This large cap US right at least 25% election spikes amid report Elliott management is pushing for change. So it's more a activist kind of a stock, and basically stock is in a downtrend. So it's not something which I'm going to be like terribly excited about. So that way, like each of these stocks like CLDR, there must be some uh, catalyst again, because most of the time stocks are going to like go up in the morning. This is an IPO, so this is of interest. I might like look at this in more details, like so CLDR. So first I look at the news. What is the news? So there was earnings. So basically it has past performance indicator weaker feature, rises after third quarter earnings bit. So I will always like look at what was the earnings. Was it really a significant earning jump? So the earnings was negative in terms of like, and it's growing at 41%. Like, okay, that's not bad. But earnings is negative. The projected earnings is negative. So not something which like I'm terribly excited about. I want to see a stock which is like this kind of a thing situation, where you have earnings as well as sales going up, kind of a situation which it did had a breakout, but like it petered out. Like basically, if you see here, this was the earnings it did had. Here also the earnings was good, so this was a move based on that earning. But now it pulled back sharply. So anything which shows up pre-market and which has significant volume, like the volume is 95k here UWT, but that's a ETF. But so if there is some stock which has a lot of volume, especially volume about 50,000, then I will definitely look at it and see what is the catalyst, and everything is in place in terms of like everything which I want for analysis. All those windows are open, so I know what I'm looking for. And if I can't find an information, then I always go to other sites and find information. So that's how, in process term, this is organized for morning. But my first priority is anticipation. Basically, anticipation stocks are the one which I'm really excited about.